Hey, what's going on, internet? It's Khalif here for This Place Is Weird, my blogging project where I like talk about spirituality, philosophies, things of that sort. I'm not gonna go over the whole spiel about my Instagram posts and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and get straight into talking about today's quote. Today I've got for you guys, our character is what we do when we think no one is looking. And that's by H. Jackson Brown Jr. Another dude I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that one. So I took a couple of notes just to make sure I don't go too off the rail, and I don't want to talk for too long, so let's go ahead and fly through them. First, I wrote, this is just the definition of integrity, isn't it? Or at least like our understanding of it. Acting justly when there are no consequences for doing otherwise. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Maybe I'll flash the definition for you guys there. So my mind, when I think about this quote, the first thing comes to mind is organized religions and Christianity in particular, because that's just the religion I was born into. It's the predominant religion of my country and things of that sort. And it's always been a philosophical, ethical argument that people have, especially Christians, that they think that people that are atheists or that don't believe in a higher power don't have true morality, or they don't have they're less likely to be as moral as people that do, which coming from someone that having been born into the Christian household, it's like the natural order of being a kid, I think, to reject what your parents are trying to teach you. And well, I mean, at least it feels like it should be natural. But I eventually came back around to it once I wrapped my head around different parts of what Christianity is supposed to be: organized religion, life in general, our heart, mind, body, soul complexes and things of that sort. And give me a second. Sorry about that. Had to check on something, but that's the magic of editing. Y'all will never even hear me take a break. But yeah, so I was talking about how the natural order of being a kid is like being raised into certain belief structures and questioning those structures to the point of no longer believing in them. And I think I read somewhere it's like most kids that grow up and get rid of their religious values that their parents tried to instill in them end up coming back around to them after they go out into the world and experience certain things and try to like put the pieces together by themselves, which is kind of what happened to me. I think Haidt also wrote about that in Righteous Mind, about how you don't force children to you don't make kids follow rules that they don't understand themselves, because that just makes them resent the rules, makes them resent authority. They don't have experience having been in positions to where they would need to exercise that authority and appreciate those rules, so you don't do that to them. So getting off the rails here a little bit. Back to the notes. So talking about why I think Christianity and other organized religions can be useful when people buy in. The idea of, I think the reason why Christians have such a hard time wrapping their Christians, organized religious people, have a hard time wrapping their heads around atheists or non-secular people having moral codes or being consistent in their ethical values, believing in accountability past this our carnal incarnations and stuff like that, is because one of the things that brought me back around to the ideas of believing in God is that it's kind of like an invisible social contract between people. If I were to come across somebody on the street and they proclaim to be a person of God, or they at least say that they believe in God and things of that sort, it kind of brings us back to this idea of what integrity is. Because if people's true character is what they are doing when they think no one's watching, and one of the main parts of Christianity is that everything that you do is being watched over. It's been I don't know if foretold is the right word, but it's like everything is being, you're part of something that is being watched over. It kind of, if someone acknowledges that they're being watched over, you can at least you don't, I can't trust anybody. You shouldn't trust anybody. You can't trust people, but you can be a little more inclined, or at least kind of have it in the back of your head that there's a little more of a chance that this person might be more forthcoming if they also think that there is somebody watching them, that there are going to be consequences for the things that they do in the dark. That in Christianity, you're not only judged for your words and your actions, you're judged just for your thoughts, dude. Like, you need to forgive people lest you not be forgiven. You judge people in the same way that you are judged. Even like adultery, like, you're not allowed to even look at a woman. If you look at a woman lustfully, you've already committed adultery with her. So it's a very high level of, like, almost not having privacy. Like, you're like the property of Christ and God, so you're supposed to always carry yourself in a way as if you answer to them, so whether or not you agree with that or not, or you're down with all that stuff, if someone is to tell you that they do believe in that, you could have a little bit more. Like, I know there's like 0% trust you should have in people, but it's like that 0% might go up to maybe 1 or 2% when that person tells you that, yeah, they do believe in that same idea, the same, kind of generic feeling that we have, that we're being watched over by someone that cares for us and that wants us to treat each other with some sort of respect, and just treat each other with the respect that we would show each other, having that same understanding and appreciation of where we come from and what thing we're all a part of. So I think that's one of the things that brought me back around to it. It's like there's the I'd rather, there's no proof that we're all gonna be held accountable for things that we do in the afterlife, but if I'm gonna have to trust people, I would rather trust the people that believe that they are gonna be judged for their wrongdoings. So I think that's all about that bullet point. And now I guess this one might be a little bit more controversial, because I'm just gonna start talking about some things I'm not 100% an expert on. But so there are a lot of people know how to act properly, but don't necessarily know why they should be acting properly, or like feel that they feel it innately why you should be acting properly. So when I was talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. I forget if it's sociopaths, narcissists, psychopaths. This is why I wrote with the question mark and the upward inflection. That they recognize the proper ways to act to get what they want out of people, and a lot of the times what they need for people is for people to like them, or for like police to not come after them, etc., or whatever. So they recognize how to act to get what they want, which is so good social standing, people's admirations, things of that sort. So there are people, like I said, this is what I'm gonna not know about. It's like psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths. I'm gonna have to look it up and put on the screen which one I'm talking about in particular. They'll know that by giving to charity, people will think that they're a good person, so that whenever they are questioned for doing something improper, they can always fall back on, well, that's a good person, they give to charity. You know what I mean? They know how to take advantage of seeming to have the good nature without actually feeling the reasons why you would need to have a good nature, So it's like a quote unquote normal person might want to give to charity because they have the empathy to be like, oh, I feel for that person, whereas the narcissist, psychopath, sociopath people would do it for the social benefits that come along with that act. So a person that really rubs me the wrong way is this YouTuber Cart Narcs, the guy that goes around and bothers people for leaving their shopping carts out. This is a good example of what I mean by someone who knows how to well, I guess it is arguably what Freud calls sublimation, which if I remember correctly is when people have a socially unacceptable impulse or desire, and they find a way to make that desire socially acceptable through, you know, doing some form of, you know, they figure out how it fits into society. So I think the definition, the example that I read, or it's like shamans are people that would just rather take drugs and, you know, screw around, but they figure it out. It's like, oh, if I act like or offer some sort of like mystical healing or something like that in a way that nobody else can do, it gives me an excuse to fuck off and do drugs and stuff like that. I might be misremembering that. I need to reread that book. Another form of sublimation, if I'm remembering correctly, I think, what's his name, Dennis Prater, BTK killer. I might be mixing up my serial killers, but I know that there was a break in his killing sprees in which he was a traffic parking enforcer. And so he was able to fulfill his sadistic fantasies to like get off on giving people fucked up tickets instead of, you know, biting, torturing, and killing them, and, you know, getting off on that feeling of power over someone else. He was just writing them shitty tickets, which, you know, I always thought that guy needed to play some fucking Call of Duty or some video game where you get to like absolutely fuck people up for fun, and it's, you know, you get that feeling of domination without hurting people. But yeah, so Cart Narcs, I was talking about him because I feel like this is another, what he does is a socially acceptable form of bullying, and he does it in a way that he's always targeting people that leave out their shopping carts, which, it's a thing that people, I remember I read a comment on one of his videos or on Reddit talking about it, where someone said that whether or not someone returns their shopping cart is a universal barometer for whether or not that person is a good person. And I was like, that's kind of crazy, but I see where that person's coming from. It's a low effort thing that inconveniences other people. It could potentially lead to high levels of inconvenience for other people. Like, you know, the example people always use is like, yo, you're leaving your cart in a handicap spot, the cart could roll, you know, get in someone's car, you're fucking up my day, all sorts of stuff happens. You're making the job harder for the cart return person, all that stuff. So what this Cart Narcs person has done is like found a demographic of people that anybody that questions why he's doing what he's doing can kind of like well, maybe not questions what he's doing, but he can always call this person out for what they're doing, and their reaction to what he does is always going to be a personal indictment on him, because he's always going to be calling them on something that they should be doing. But in his calling out on what he's doing, he calls them names, he makes fun of their personal appearances, he violates their personal space and their property and things of that sort. But he knows that whatever he does, he's always quote unquote justified in the minds of other people, and that people will back him up no matter how far he goes with how insulting he is or whatever it is. I'm being armchair psychiatrist or psychologist and stuff like that might be reaching, but this is the way it comes. It rubs off on me that he's I don't know, man. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It feels like he's not of good integrity. Well, I'm done. I think I was just bringing up the whole Cart Narcs thing because I wanted to use an example of how people know how to act properly but don't necessarily know why, and then it was supposed to lead into why I think that Christianity and other organized religions can be helpful as far as like being a overarching invisible sort of social contract that people are gonna not screw over each other because we believe that we'll be punished for it at some point. I think I've said everything I gotta say. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you think I'm reaching too hard saying that Cart Narc dude is a sociopath, if you think I'm an archaic boomer thinking that Christianity isn't the devil, which is, ironic to say. Anyways, whatever. I appreciate you for listening. If you did, click around, find something else that I did, and yeah, take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time.